Hello, konnichiwa, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I hope you're good. I hope you're genki. It's me, Gray, from Wakizashi's Teahouse. And I know what you're thinking. You were thinking that Christmas only came once a year, right? Is that right? Anyway, had to get that in. Great to see you in the chat. We have already Dempsey's here. Are you good, Dempsey? And Joseph Dredd, who is the law. Don't deny it, it's true. Nosferatu using his blade words and all sorts of things. I don't know what's going on with that. It's getting a little bit annoying, especially when he goes Blackizashi Waffle House. Mamma mia, crazy. Where are we? Anyone I've missed? Wakizashi's Tea House? What's that? Do Shiko, Noskun. When you listen to my intro, you should be doing Shiko to it. I did some last night, and I've even been for a jog. I've been for a run today. It's so humid here, it's unbelievable. Really moist. Ladies. So looking forward to talking a bit of James Bond. So to begin with, hail Zags. To begin with, we have a special guest. He has the longest growing beard on YouTube, as far as I know. I think it's surpassed Gary Neurotics, and who else is there? Yeah, not much more to say. Rasputin, maybe? Not quite reached Rasputin levels, but we're getting there. Let me bring in Blair de Blair.
Hey, God. It's going, yeah.
It's looking good, looking healthy. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Yeah, I love the little Christmas joke. Yeah, it's...
So that's why they named that character Christmas Jones, isn't it? Just to get that joke in.
You knew that was going to happen.
Oh, Salty too as well. Salty Travelling Sea, mate. You're welcome to pop in for a bit if you want, but no pressure. It's in the what's it called? The Gray's Moving Picture House. It's in that chat. What do you call it? Yeah, it's Twitter thread. I tell you what. I'm sorry, Blair. I'm all over the place. As you know, I didn't even send you the link till like 5 minutes ago. I've been running around like a madman as usual.
No worries.
No worries. So,
oh yeah,
what are we going to talk about?
He's got a big one too.
Oh, he does. He does.
Metamanethrin.
It's full and glossy and quite long. Okay, I'm going to do a quick intro to the movie we're going to talk about, and then we'll get into a bit of discussion. So this is The World Is Not Enough. Believe it or not, it is, if I've got this right, the 19th James Bond movie. Came out in 1999. Wow, all the nines there. And it stars Pierce Brosnan in his third appearances. James Bond 007, not Remington Steele. Thank goodness he managed to get out of that contract eventually. And so it was preceded by, of course, the classic GoldenEye, wonderful. And the one I always forget, I had to get Blair to remind me. Tomorrow Never Dies was before this. And then, of course, The World Is Not Enough. And I think after that, is it Die Another Day, Blair? There's one more.
That was his last one. And then we got the current, or well, no, not current anymore. He's no longer at the James Bond.
No, he gave up.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Like, what a James Bond thing to do. He just gave up, sat down, and waited for the missiles to come.
What a quitter.
Quitter! That's true. Okay. Oh, yeah, Salty's saying the Rosamund Pike Bond movie. Actually, I think Rosamund Pike's one of Salty's favourite actresses right now. Isn't that right? Wait a time. That's all I'm saying. Nosferatu's saying, if you talk crap to Blair, he'll yeet you off the Tower of Isengard. What do you want, Nos? You're crazy, man. Oh, I'm feeling a bit small as well today. Next to Blair. There we go. That's better. So, okay, let's get on with the movie. Blair, can you ask your initial thoughts? Because you actually did your homework. I'm impressed. You watched this, didn't you, especially?
Yeah, I speed watched it, to familiarize myself with it. I forgot how much fun it is. Metamanethrin has that big
Zach is clipping that right now. Oh god.
So the when you look at these, you forget how many practical effects there are. I mean, they had a whole subsequence where they had to have a set on sideways, filling full of water when they're in the sub. And then it has all the classic James Bond stuff. You got people paragliding with these snowmobiles in the sky. Then you have a ski chase. Then you go back to paragliders. Explosions everywhere. Subs. You got the water. You got like not a mine car, but it's like the little tram they're going through the nuclear facility.
Oh yeah.
So you have everything in this movie. It's just amazing. You forget
That's
kind
a
of how
great
much.
point. The amount of practical effects we're seeing in it. Yeah, the action scenes, Blair. Great pickup on that. I'll tell you what, the first thing that got me about it was the opening. I'd forgotten about that and how good it is and how thrilling, and it's pretty serious. It's action packed. You got that great scene where you see Pierce Brosnan, James Bond. How does he do it? He uses a knocked out thug as a kind of anchor and leaps out the window, doesn't he? Going down. So cool.
A counterweight. And
just
then
warn
that
people.
voting.
I've got some background noise. Sorry, guys. So I might be dipping in and out of muting. There's a crazy construction going on over there in the background. But anyway, sorry, Blair. Go for it.
And then that boat scene in the Thames River. He's got the little mini boat. James Bond always has the cool, little mini jet and the gyrocopters and all that kind of stuff. And then they got like a little mini speedboat with thrust on the back and torpedoes and everything else. Oh yeah, and also dives too. And then he does little things underwater. He grabs his tie and straightens his tie up, as he's underwater because
he has to. It's the James Bond adjusting the cufflinks or the tie scene, isn't it?
Well, he's got to be correct.
So we get this opening scene just to get Pierce looking good. Sexy lady, of course. There's always a sexy lady in there. And she's offering this box of beautiful-looking Cuban cigars, which come up later on, don't they, with a funny scene with Moneypenny.
Oh yeah.
Here he is.
Oh no! Don't shoot.
Just had Nosferatu saying earlier that Pierce Brosnan was a very good Bond. It's crazy that he wasn't. I don't know if he wasn't well received, but. Do you think, Blair, you were saying, was it more to do with the writing, the actual scripts, the silliness that came into his movies?
Coppola had mentioned that too, that, he got these kind of ridiculous scripts that were just, maybe if he had gotten some more serious stuff like Daniel Craig, I think it would have been a much more better Bond. But I love his Bond. I love the little quips and the humor in it too. It's, very 90s.
He really pulls it off, can't he? He can pull off the comedy scenes as well because he doesn't overplay them. It's very kind of suave, debonair, the gentleman, but cracking a couple of jokes. But that's right. Yeah, exactly, deadpan. But as you say, Coppola made a good point in the chat. He was saying about it did get campy, it did get silly later on, which is a shame because I think it started very serious. GoldenEye is an out-and-out classic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's a great one.
Okay, where are
I did like this one though. I liked the whole kind of the thing with Moneypenny and her friend, and what happened with his daughter. I thought there were consequences to her actions.
Oh yeah,
and they were pretty bad for many people involved.
What do you think about Judi Dench as M? I know it wasn't the first one. She came in with GoldenEye, but seeing her in here, she kind of looks mature already, but she looks so much younger than the more recent ones, isn't she? Of course.
I know. I love her as Moneypenny. I'm sorry, as M. I thought she was great.
Yeah, she was good. Gets a little bit of criticism, Blair, because with her coming into it and... is it a famous line in GoldenEye? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it goes on something like where she's criticising, dressing down Bond, saying, you're old-fashioned, you're a misogynistic dinosaur, he's had his day. And since then, I think people are kind of like, okay, were they having a go at Bond so early? It's not just a recent thing?
Yeah, they were. Bond had been around since the early 60s. And, things were happening in the 90s. People were starting to, question whether or not, plus the whole Cold War aesthetic too happened, where there was a kind of thing of people are relics from the Cold War.
Yeah.
We don't need your type anymore. We need a new type of, agent. And I think he even kind of addressed the fact that, you still need people to kill people or something like that,
Exactly. Who's going to do the dirty work? Someone's got to, be the killer. Be the person you hire to take care of the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, Dempsey's saying he's probably a runner-up for number 2 or number 3 on the Bond list.
I'd agree with that.
So while we're talking on that, Blair, can you give a quick rating of your favourite Bonds? I'll go first briefly. I'll just say it has to be Sean Connery, Miss Money Penny. He has to be number one. And then I grew up as a kid. Like Roger Moore was my Bond, because I was a kid in the 70s. So I've always got a big fondness for him. But I think Pierce is number 2, and then I'll go for Roger Moore 3.
For me, it's Roger Moore because I grew up with him. Hey, Salty.
Thanks for the warning.
Hail, baby! Just drop you in cold.
Yeah.
Hey, you interrupted one of the more beautiful beards, and I'm just going to say this because I have to pick sides, but I think Amanda Manethrin, that's the beard that I aspire to. Yours, my friend, is what we need in Warner Brothers' new Lord of the Rings movies. If you are not in those damn movies, Blair, I'm going to boycott and turn my channel into a anti-Warner Brothers channel because, dude, you are looking very...
As a male dwarf, Salty, or as a female
Very
dwarf?
wizardy.
No, you're a wizard, Blair. Dude, what the hell is wrong with you, Gray? No.
Yeah, I would do.
Sorry,
I do Moore first because he was the one I grew up with. He's my favorite. Then Sean, and then Pierce.
Really?
Cool. That's interesting. So Moore first for Blair. Salty, how about you? The top 3.
Connery, Brosnan, and actually, it really is Roger Moore. And it's not Roger Moore because I remember those movies from the 70s fondly. I kind of hated Roger Moore for a long time. And it wasn't until I'd say probably 2 years ago, and I was trapped in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. And you got no internet, you got no cable, and my Kindle died, and I didn't bring a charger. But they had a bunch of DVDs, and one of them was like a couple of Roger Moore DVDs, and I'm like, let's see how these are, right? And I couldn't believe the effect it had on me as someone who, I was born in 1970, but just to see the cars and the way the world looked when I was a kid, maybe that's part of it. You know what I mean? But Pierce Brosnan, Roger Moore, he is such a better Bond. It's like he's wine. He needed to age like in the wine cellar of Bond.
Yeah,
and us to take him off the shelf. Because honest to God, and I forget, I'm stream braining right now, but the very first one that he does with the voodoo stuff in Louisiana,
Live and Let Die,
exceptional.
It's so good.
It's exceptional. The
book is good too. Salty, the book. It's only short and it's very good.
I really hated the spy. I hated so many of those Bond movies. I really did. But now I sat down and I watched the Roger Moore movies, and I'm like, he's a really good Bond. And these are
I've gone back to them too, like you have gone back. And they really hold up, don't they? Especially his earlier ones. Yeah, they do get ridiculously campy as he gets older and older. I mean, Octopussy, The World Is Not Enough. Oh, sorry, not wait. I can't remember what it's called.
No.
Duran.
Oh yeah. Well, that was
View to a Kill.
Yep. And this may be a hot take, but the guy who was the two-shot wonder in the 80s when they did, you could tell they just did literally too much cocaine, and they wanted to be Miami Vice. They tried to turn James Bond into Miami Vice with Dalton. And it was such a turnoff. But I watched his movie.
I like his first one, Living Daylights. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. But the second one was you're right. It was like Miami Vice. Yeah,
License to Kill.
It's a little cringe, but there's still good movies compared to what we got.
Oh goodness,
recently.
I
mean,
without a doubt,
he's Bond. He is Bond, and I don't know that blonde menstruating man that they had in these recent movies. I can't watch them. I've never seen all of those movies, and I never will because they look dumb.
I didn't watch the last one. I have no desire to see the last one, so whatever.
Yeah,
but
I liked his first one, Casino Royale, Blair. And that was about it.
It was good. Like we were talking about how the tone changed from, Brosnan. It was kind of this, there's a humor to it. There's a very unique feel to the Brosnan James Bond, and they get to Casino Royale and beyond that. All of a sudden, he becomes like an ultra hard ass. I mean, his jokes are more like a psychopath, making jokes because.
Yeah. Well, the deconstruction, it was the bait and switch. I mean, and then we saw it with everything else that happened. It's. I think what's great about Pierce Brosnan was this guy could sit there and look, like every dude wanted to be this guy with the suit and the chick, and back then, boys and girls, the Bond girls didn't have dicks, so it was really, they were really hot. You know what I mean?
Are you sure?
In this movie, in this movie, Sophie Marceau.
Oh yeah.
Just gonna say, just
hot.
The women were strong and they were feminine, and there was nothing wrong with being a beautiful woman. As a matter of fact, that was part of the draw of the movies. They weren't these insect stick-like figures, kind of masculine women, like whatever. The villains that were women that Pierce Brosnan and all previous Bonds had to face, they were dangerous because they were beautiful and feminine, because they knew how to seduce. It wasn't just that they were like, look at my goodies, you know what I mean? Which was okay with me. I'm a big fan of goodies.
Me too.
But they also were brilliant because they could manipulate James Bond. And sometimes James Bond caught him and sometimes he didn't. And that's what was great about those stories, in my opinion.
For me, guys, Daniel Craig, some of the movies were good, but I never took to him as Bond. It wasn't just the hair colour, it was not the look of him. He never felt like Bond. Do you think we were kind of spoiled by how well, he was played by Sean, Roger, and then, of course, Pierce? Yeah,
they had that suave, that kind of thing, like Playboy, but not. And then, Daniel Craig seemed to be more like a soldier who got to,
he was like a thug. Yeah. He was a little rougher. These guys are like suave and polished.
A mercenary,
Exactly.
And again, all of these things start with a script. All of these things start. It doesn't matter if it's Wheel of Time. Thanks for saying that, by the way, Gray. And or James Bond.
You brought it up.
Trigger
or
word.
Willow. I just said Rosamund Pike, and I liked her goodies in this. In the Total Stream Brain, the one with the bad Madonna soundtrack. I think the last Pierce Brosnan.
Was she in Die Another Day? Was it that one?
Yeah,
she was.
That was her. That was her
yeah,
soundtrack.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah. But
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Trips disagrees. Tripp says she likes Daniel Craig as Bond. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, Fufu.
Everybody has their. Well, there are people like George Lazenby too. So he was a one and done guy.
One and done. It was a very good movie, actually. It was I don't know. It was a shame. He was okay.
I think him and the guy Dalton, had they done more, I think it would have been fine.
Yeah.
I know Dalton got booted because they finally got Bronson, because that's who they wanted in Emporio.
Yeah, it's true. And I think we've talked about this before, about how Pierce Brosnan was locked into a television contract. They wanted him the moment that,
Remington Steele.
Yep, the minute that Roger Moore said he was going to retire. And there was a little bit of a legal battle. They tried to negotiate. They tried to buy him out of his contract. But the network wouldn't do it. And I want to say it was on CBS. I want to say he was
NBC.
It was okay. It was okay.
I think it was NBC,
and I fucked it up. But but they wouldn't let him out.
No, they had gold because people were watching Remington Steele because they knew he was going to be Bond.
Yeah.
So
and NBC didn't have a lot going on for it back then. And look at now, Peacock. I'm looking at you. But I mean, it's just, we got him, and as soon as we got him, I think, to be honest, this movie, having seen GoldenEye, and then seeing this movie, I was let down by this movie. Seeing it in the theater, it had some good parts. I found Q insufferable. I hated the anti-men messaging even back then. I think it's even more now, looking at where all the things we've had to endure. I think it's hard to watch, but I love John.
If you compare
Cleese
it to stuff now, though, Salty, it's nowhere near as bad.
Oh no! I'm just saying what they did with Q. I love this movie. I mean, now especially, this movie is like, it's a good Bond movie. It's just just where do you go from GoldenEye? I mean, GoldenEye was like just blew everybody away. It was in some ways arguably in the top 4 Bond movies of all time, including Connery. Connery's best stuff,
good.
Like Thunderball,
it's really good.
And
but
I don't know.
Like you say, you come in so hard. How do you raise that bar?
Yeah,
you don't. You get like a one that's kind of a little bit low below it, and
It's still a good movie, and I'm not shitting on it at all. I'm just saying, like, comparing GoldenEye to this, to me, just my dumb perspective, it was kind of a letdown. And I did like Sophie Marceau in this because she was evil as hell, and she played a sociopath perfectly.
She's a classy actress as well. Beautiful.
That's a strong woman. That's a strong character, you know. And she did have a sympathetic backstory. However, she's still crazy as shit, and she needed to die. Okay.
Amazing. A flawed woman, a flawed female character in a major movie. See you, Jacob. Good night. But Salty, me and Blair were talking earlier on. We were saying, like, about GoldenEye. Yeah, they kind of introduced the, you know, you're a misogynistic dinosaur who's past his due date. They had female M saying that to him, and since then it's been slowly creeping in. But I don't know, when you go back and watch Roger Moore, and you know, he makes fun of himself. He sends himself up in the role. He's not playing it too seriously.
I mean, it's kind of making fun of it to a certain degree, and then I forget where's the. See it again. I wasn't ready to talk deep James Bond lore stuff. But what's the one where he goes with Agent XXX to Egypt, and Jaws rips the back of a van off in Egypt?
Jaws.
And you guys, which one was
Was
that?
it Richard Keel? Was
it The Spy Who Loved Me?
Moonraker?
No, God, that's terrible.
That's terrible. And by the way, Salty, on this point, we're missing one movie. It's the one that everyone forgets. After GoldenEye, it was Tomorrow Never Dies, and then it was this. Tomorrow Never Dies was the one with Jonathan Pryce as the media, like, you know, guy.
Microsoft, Apple guy.
That's it. God. I forgot all about that one. I thought this was the second Brosnan.
Okay, so if that's the case, then this movie to me is much better than the I'm totally getting straight. The movie you just talked about.
Yeah, I think this movie is
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Joseph Dredd said The Spy Who Loves Me was Jaws in Egypt.
Oh, nice one, Joseph.
That's what I thought with Agent XXX. But no, I mean, The World Is Not Enough was a better movie than Tomorrow Never Dies, in my opinion. Maybe that's a hot take, but
no, I agree.
Yao in it too.
Yeah.
Yao.
That one. Yao.
Yeah. I really miss these movies. I was just hanging out with Steve, Prophet of the Dragon, talking about his hour-long therapy session about having to go to see Indiana Jones and the Diaper of Destiny. And
I heard that he and Naporia went to see it, yeah.
Well, they did a live stream. They did a live stream, and then Steve he literally just went for an hour uncut talking about everything that went wrong with this movie, and so we talked about that. But we were talking about, he went through all the movies coming out this year, next year, and in 2025, and it's like it's just shit. Like, it's just shit. If somebody made like the worst Pierce Brosnan movie, they would make $3-4 billion. They would own the box office. You know what I mean? That's where the bar is. And we used to just expect that movies like this, that's what we were going to get. Just good movies that made money and were fun and had catchy, song titles. And we got to see boobs, and we got to see men who liked women, and intrigue, and we'd not be lectured. You know,
we got to see masculine men and feminine women, not the other way around. That was really refreshing. But guys, one more thing. It's funny that you mentioned the music, Salty, because that's what sent me on this initial dive into this movie. I was watching a documentary on Amazon about the songs of 007 over the years. It's really good. It doesn't have them all, unfortunately, but it has quite a lot of them. And I was like, garbage, the world is not enough. I remember it. It actually sounds better than I remember. So I went back to watch the movie, and I was like, holy shit, this is really good. The opening hour of the movie is excellent.
Yeah. I've got really the soundtrack of what is it, the top Bond themes, going back to Shirley Bassey. You got Tom Jones, Thunderball, just over the top, just like, oh my God, dude,
Nancy Sinatra.
You
Only Live Twice.
That's probably one of my favorite Bond themes ever. Yeah, Wings.
Never Let Die.
Never Let Die. And Sheryl Crow did one, which was.
I don't remember. Yeah, I remember Sheena Easton did For Your Eyes Only,
which was great. I like that. But
that's my favorite Bond.
Rita Coolidge, All Time High. Not keen on that one. All Time High with her Octopussy. Oh my goodness. Anyway, but some great ones. Can you give, guys? I know you're on the spot, but you've named a few there. which ones would you say, like, top 3 or top 5 or really stick out? This is an absolute classic, like Shirley Bassey's Goldfinger or Diamonds Are Forever.
Go ahead, Blair. Sure. What do you think? Or you want some time?
Sheena Easton, Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah. Duran Duran, of You to Kill.
100%.
And Shirley Bassey, of course. Those are my top 3.
Yeah, for me, Tom Jones, a Thunderball, it's so over the top, and then you put in that great stylized '60s. You know what was fun before Bond movies? Were all the naked chicks that were in silhouette, always on the screen when they were listening.
Opening titles, amazing,
dude. And it didn't matter. Like, go back to Dr. No with the polka dots and stuff like that. And then they did the one with Thunderball with the sharks and the swimmers and stuff, and it's like that music coupled with the beautiful female form in Bond, like always in the tuxedo, with the Walther PPK, in silhouette with all these women either bouncing or swimming or rubbing up against him. You got invested in the movie before the thing even started, and it just, again, if somebody did this, if somebody made up a franchise that did that, literally they would need dump trucks to carry all the money from the theater to the movie studio. It's not baffling. What it is it's really kind of sad, because it's become really obvious that all of this destruction is for a reason and money doesn't matter, and the only audience is the investment banks who force them to do ESG to lower the interest rates on their billions of dollars of debt for making shitty movies.
Don't worry though, Salty, it won't last. Everything. It's
true. The zombie apocalypse is
peaks
right
and
around
troughs,
the corner.
Where everything's in waves. We'll be right in a while. Going back to the music, Blair, and the opening titles. I'm sure maybe you're not as bad as me, but as a kid, I love the songs, I love the titles, but I was always like staring at the screen for trying to get a glimpse of you know what I'm talking about. But they were so clever how they made them. You never saw anything. It was suggestion. It was titillation with emphasis on the tits.
Exactly.
I miss that. I miss titillation. I miss the what do you call it? Eroticism rather
boobs.
than bloody...
They're called boobs. That's what I call them. Look at the great guys you have in chat. Like, look at this: Paul McCartney and Wings.
I know.
Zax,
what does it matter to you?
I want to ban him too. Zax. You got Live
Why would
and
you ban
Let Die,
Grey?
Do It the Best. I mean, just you can start singing all these songs, and immediately you're there. The women, the costumes. I mean, to me, I don't know, Thunderball. I could watch Thunderball on repeat. You guys remember when in America we used to have TBS, and on the holidays they would run the James Bond marathons for 4 days. Every Bond movie back to back nonstop over Christmas or Thanksgiving.
So lucky.
It was great when you'd have family come over. You're stuck at your parents' house. It's like, I'm gonna go watch
Bond.
Live and Let Die for the third time. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to talk to you. But like, it was escape. That's what James Bond is.
Yes.
He's not ideology. He's not a political tool. He's not there to affirm, gender change or whatever. He's there as an escape. Just like, Tolkien used to be, Robert Jordan was. But it's like, especially James Bond, I knew I was never going to be a spy working for the British Secret Service. You know what I mean? But when the movie where he's got a wetsuit on with the goggles and swims up to a Central American dictator, whatever, and sets the bombs on his opium stuff, and then runs away, and then swims, takes off the wetsuit in his perfect white tuxedo, and then sticks a carnation in it, and then lights his cigarette just as the detonator he presses blows up the poppy refinery.
It's just dream stuff, dream fantasy. Like you say, we're never going to be it, Salty. We wish we were him, but we can't be him.
And you love the gadgets, all the gadgets he had.
Oh God!
That Aston Martin,
pen guns and laser watches.
Suitcase. The suitcase with it wasn't just about the gadgets and the gags. And when he needed them, they were there. And it was never over the top. It's not like he pulled a flamethrower out of a shoe-case or something like that. But
he didn't need them. That was the thing. He was tough. He was, he could knock somebody out with his fists. That's what I liked about him. He could take a punch.
Yeah, I agree with Nerdporial. Sean, the more that I go back and watch Connery, in anything, Not the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I tried to watch that again because I thought I'd been hard on it. I wasn't hard enough. Don't do it.
He's the only good thing in that.
Just
even he doesn't
pretend
give a
that
crap.
never. Pretend. Go watch Zardoz several
Yes.
times before
Yes.
you watch the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Just want to say that.
Let's get Blair's thoughts on songs, on really good Bond songs. Which ones like stand out for you, mate?
Oh, like I said, Live and Let Die from Wayne's. When I was a kid, that was like incredible. When that dropped, I remember when Guns N' Roses did that cover. That was like cool as hell. You know, they would cover that song.
I remember that.
Sheena Easton, Duran Duran. That was like the big thing. Okay, you got a Bond movie coming out. Who's doing the song?
I remember buying the 45.
Who's the Bond girl?
The Duran Duran 45 with the cover with the Eiffel Tower with Roger Moore on it, and riding my BMX bike, holding my little brown paper bag with my 45, my little 7-inch record.
45.
Like, I can't wait to take this home and play this, you know? So, yeah.
Adele did Skyfall, didn't she? Yeah. Adele. The
I liked Skyfall a
Skyfall.
lot. It was very weird because it was like they peeled back layers of Bond, you know, until you get to like the very end. He's right back at his ancestral home in Scotland. He's got no gadgets. He's got no nothing. He's got like a double-barreled hunting rifle shotgun.
Yes.
You know.
Take it back to basics, Blair.
Yeah, he even took the old Aston Martin, you know, and took the drive back in time to Skyfall, where it all began for him. I really love that movie. I think that's his best Daniel Craig movie we got out of him.
We need to Zardoz shame. We need to Zardoz shame Nerdporeal Life. This movie, Brian, it's going to change you. It's going to change you. I'm not saying for the better, but it's going to change you.
Sean Connery's costume will definitely change you.
Only a man like that could get run around with leather thigh boots and a crochet slingshot.
He's not exaggerating.
On his
It's
head.
true.
Literally, like Borat. You
With a
remember
Burt
Borat?
Reynolds mustache and a bad ponytail.
Yeah.
And you can't tell where the fur loincloth
Jesus.
he's wearing starts and his chest hair ends. It's
Yes.
perfect. It's perfect. Yeah.
And I sort of got the thing where it's like a crochet knitted nutsack sling he's wearing.
No, Paul, you have to wear it if you do review it. You got to make the costume, man. Do it.
I'm gonna go look on Etsy for the crocheted Zardoz nutsack sling because there's
know it's
somebody
there,
out
man.
there. If you know how to crochet, start an Etsy store that sells only Zardoz nutsack. You make a lot of money.
And what kind of gun did he have? Was it a 38? It was like an old infantry pistol.
Yeah.
The whole getup was just like post-apocalyptic, you know.
Yeah. But that was the way they always represented the fantasy stuff back then. I mean,
Yes.
look at what Bakshi did with Wizards and that, you know, Fire and Ice, but Wizards especially with the dystopian, very stylized dystopian stuff, and had a very unique. It was the same look it was in the TSR games. It was in Bakshi. It was in. You can see it in Heavy Metal to a certain degree. The original Heavy Metal movie. That's what they thought the future was going to be.
Yeah.
And instead, it's
this.
Good movie, Salty.
Yeah.
Heavy Metal. I rewatched that recently. The original Heavy
it's
Metal
so good.
animation. Really good.
Heavy Metal 2000. This may be a hot take. It's hard to watch, especially when you watch them back to back, because
I'm sure.
the original Heavy Metal was a series of vignettes, and they were so well done. Instead, Heavy Metal 2000 tries to string a story together. And don't get me wrong, there's great boobs, gratuitous female nudity. That's awesome, but yeah.
I'm in. If you roll up on Blair, says Nosferatu, he'll blast you with a musket. It's true,
That's right.
I'm sure.
Thunderblast, you know, a little turkey gun to Pilgrim's
Joseph
Head.
Dredd saying the gun from Zardoz is a Webley Fosbury automatic revolver. Wow.
Yep.
Don't even know what that is, but it sounds awesome.
It's like an officer's
call.
gun from World War One. Whole front clock down.
Ooh.
Oh, that's what you guys are talking
Nice.
about. Okay, yeah. The breakaway to reload the road. Yep. Yeah, Nosferatu.
So Salty
was
and
right.
Blair, while I've got you here, one more thing I wanted to mention, and this is what you were saying earlier, Salty, about the fantasy aspect. One thing that's changed with Bond is it used to be, they were showing movies back before people were internationally travelling that much, so you got these incredible views of beautiful, you know, countries, cities, locations. They were a massive part of the movies, weren't they? Does that still work these days, now that we can pretty much go anywhere?
Blair, do you want to do that one first? Do you want me to take it?
Yeah. Not like it used to be. People are more travel now. Plus the internet. I mean, you can see videos where you can literally watch someone drive through. What's the big city in Czechoslovakia? Prague.
Prague.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You can literally just watch somebody drive through Prague for an hour and see the whole city, or Tokyo, or
Moscow,
or the Alps, or
exactly.
Alps. Yeah.
But the James Bond movies, especially back in the day, they went like for years only. They went to that Greek monastery that's like this big giant pillar.
Oh, it's incredible.
And you would see things like that in a James Bond movie that normally you would not see in any other movie, because they would travel to those remote locations and get those really great shots. That's not so much of a thing anymore now, but back in the day that was like really. You think of James Bond. What do you think of? You think of exotic locations. You think of the hot women, the gadgets, the villain. They all had their part to play in the magic of the James Bond thing. And the locations they would do 2 or 3 different locations per movie. It wasn't all set in just one thing. It was,
That's it. They were a huge part of the films, weren't they? Thanks, Blair. Salty, how about you?
I'm old, but we're all the same age. You guys know what I'm talking about. At least in the United States, when James Bond would come on, and I still remember when Thunderball came on. I think it was on ABC. I think it was maybe a Friday or Saturday night. It was the early 80s. And just the locations. I was a kid growing up in the middle of nowhere, a small mill town, in the north. And I was never going to go to Jamaica. I was never going to see... the Alps or any place like that. I was never going to go scuba diving. No, I knew no one who even know what the hell this stuff was. So you're watching this guy who's picking up mega hot chicks, having a hell of a lot of fun, drinking vodka martinis, like, in the Virgin Islands or in the Bahamas or wherever it is. And like, I don't know. I didn't know, it was a travel log. This is back when you would get magazines monthly, like National Geographic, and that's all you could access as far as images, unless you went to a library. So I think there's a case to be made that in a lot of ways, James Bond, the locations, as well as the co-stars, as well as the music, were all almost equally as important to the actual Bond himself.
Yep. It was all part of the Bond magic. What do you? Yeah. Exotic locations, exotic women.
Yeah. And now, this with Daniel Craig, I mean, again, I made the joke about him menstruating, but that's kind of it. It's like feelings with Daniel Craig, and don't get me wrong, I've seen some of the stunts that they've done. The problem for me with Craig is that there was nothing for me to give a shit about this Bond for. And that was a really interesting, you jumping motorcycles off of things and then the girders falling and all this other stuff. I didn't care. Like, it's just time to insert random Bond-like action scene. You know?
I think Nas mentioned, or somebody mentioned that, they turned it into just action movies.
Yeah.
Just generic action. Not like Bond action, but...
Yeah.
There you go.
Wait, can you zoom in?
Great scene from this.
Don't go anywhere. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Okay. This is a kind of bonkers gadget in this movie, Blair, where he puts on these kind of blue tinted shades or glasses, you think, and it's X-ray capabilities, and he's seeing like guns and knives and weapons on all these women and men in this casino. What was going on with that scene?
Everybody's strapped.
This so much. This is what Bond was. This was what made you the get. Thank you.
Do you remember there's a video camera that had a filter? It was like a night vision filter that kind of did this. You couldn't see through the clothes, but it did something to the clothes that made it very revealing.
Yeah. Can we just end the show now and stare at this for a while?
Perfect. It's a perfect all-time high. It's a way to end the show. Why did I get even hotter? Because they're wearing weapons salty as well.
Who got hurt from this? Who got hurt from feminine women? Who got hurt from strong, independent, feminine women?
Apparently ugly feminists who were jealous as hell.
I mean,
not to make kibosh this about everybody's fun.
Not to make this about the Wheel of Time, but they deliberately destroyed the the most important, powerful women in a universe that were all beautiful because they used magic, and the residual effect of magic was to keep them young and beautiful. Now, some of them were a little thick and dots and, pogs and whatever else the kids call it these days. But
Beauty and the
beautiful.
Beast.
And instead, just masculine. The women in Wheel of Time look like this guy. That's pretty much it,
Now, don't be dissing this guy. He's from my home, UK, Salty. Do you know Goldie? Goldie, the DJ and the music artist, maybe not famous outside the UK, but I couldn't believe it when he was in this movie. It's like, no way, Goldie.
Yeah. But no, that's what the women look like in Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time. Ooh, you're being a bit salty, aren't you, today, Salty?
That's true.
How about rest in peace, dear Robbie Coltrane?
Scott's
I love him in these
doing
movies.
shady Russian accents. You gotta love it.
It was painful. It was cringe, but it worked. And that's where I think that was the good element of Bond not taking itself seriously. And again, this is an over the top, dubious, semi frenemy type guy.
Right.
And I mean, that was part of the Bond universe, the sketchy dude. And you guys talked about it before. It was right after the fall of the Soviet Union. Nobody knew where the hell anything was and what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Wild West over there in a lot of ways. And of course, there were a lot of people who were connected to these organizations who suddenly were selling all kinds of shit that, we didn't even know they had. And it's going God knows where. So all of this made perfect sense. And again, it was a reflection of the times. Why you put me on top?
Because I don't want to cover you with comments.
Dude, dude, nobody wants to look at me. This is your show. Put me on the bottom. Seriously,
darling.
Please, Greg.
Sorry, darling. But this is what made his character, sorry, Blair, just briefly, his character was so lovable because it was funny with the accent. That's what made it is so good, wasn't it, guys?
Yes.
Go for it.
You knew it was shady as get out, but you still enjoyed it,
He's a mustache twirling, overcompensating bad guy.
Great.
It's perfect in this weird, crazy world.
And he's sitting there in his little gold throne, and behind him he has cases of smeared off, cases of this.
Was it
Caviar,
Minnie Driver?
Sexy women.
Was it Minnie Driver in a little cowboy hat and bikini in this movie trying to sing "Stand by Your Man"?
I can't
Is that
remember.
this movie?
I don't.
Oh Jesus,
I
no!
don't see that one.
No,
All right,
which one was
I'm gonna
that?
find it, dude.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, though.
All right, I'll be right back.
But yeah, the whole James Bond thing was, the Cold War. The enemy was either Spectre or the Russians or, them, whoever they were. Well, they went away. And all of a sudden you had, hey, Jana.
Hi, Jana.
You had, everybody. It was like criminal organizations. You had all these old former Soviet guys who suddenly were crime bosses, or everybody was kind of out for themselves. Do you remember the guy? He was a recurring Russian character in the James Roger Moore series. He was like a general something. The last time I saw him, he was in Timothy Dalton, The Living Daylights.
Yes.
And it was like, okay, I always wondered what would happen to that character after the fall of the Soviet Union. He obviously was going to be rich. All those people stayed rich and in power. He would have been something kind of like this Robbie Coltrane guy, maybe, or a little bit higher, a little bit more suave class. But he would have been a thief, selling all the old Russian stuff and, knew all the black market players and, oh, good God.
Salty, what are you sharing here?
I'm sharing a Minnie Driver as a Bond girl, and she was actually in GoldenEye. So I knew it was around this time. When she's up there karaokeing with her. I don't know, I've always thought she's hot, But Good Will Hunting, I wanted her to be my future ex-wife.
She's gorgeous in Good Will Hunting. Yeah, I really like her.
Yeah.
I really like her in that.
But yeah, now she's a total liberal nutcase, because she's an aging starlet, so they all have to support the terrible things that a lot of us with any goddamn common sense don't want to have happen to anything, especially saplings.
Then she must be removed this minute.
Yeah,
there we go.
But I'd hit it. I'd love it. I'd love it.
You would definitely smash
a lot, and then I'd leave it. Yeah, I'd yes.
Smash and run.
And maybe
guys, back to the movie. What do you make of Begbie as the main villain in this?
I was in the theater
Robert Carlyle
when this came out, and they did the explanation of the bullet going through his brain and all that, and people were laughing in the theater. How ridiculous!
It's so bizarre.
That okay, yeah, whatever.
I think he's.
I'm a dead man.
One of my
Bond says
least favorite Bond.
Favorite villains. After Jonathan Pryce in Tomorrow Never Dies, he was terrible too.
Yeah.
And he's a good actor.
Really,
no offense to Jonathan Pryce.
Pierce Brosnan had like the worst Bond villains.
Yeah, but this guy in particular, I mean, and the thing was they had a great setup, Blair, right? The sub at the end and all that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I mean, this guy's a great actor. Again, I think it was the script. I think he could have been a good villain. I think he could have, but he wasn't because of the script. You know?
Yeah.
What do you think, Gray? It's your show. What do you think? Oh, wait a minute. Never mind.
I think it's time for Christmas.
Christmas time. Yeah.
Christmas comes more than once a year, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Denise
in July.
Richards. Is that right?
Denise
Man,
Richards.
I had such a crush on her, Salty, back in the day when she was in this movie.
Who didn't? When she was in that movie with where she did the lesbian makeout in the pool scene with what's her name?
Wild Things or Dangerous Creatures.
Wild Things. It was like Wild Things. Yeah.
I like the way Blair got that title straight away without any hesitation.
Dude, these were significant moments in the 90s, okay? These were significant moments. You know, this was pre-internet, so yeah.
Wild Things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's a nuclear physicist, but for some reason...
future OnlyFans woman thought.
She could be... Sure, honey. Whatever you say, that turn over. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
She thinks men don't take her seriously for some reason. I don't know why.
Isn't that the future Mrs. X Charlie Sheen we're looking at here? Yeah.
And a future OnlyFans.
I didn't know
future
that.
OnlyFans thought as well. With her daughter, no less. Yep.
Hollywood. Take all of your lessons in morality from Hollywood, folks. They really have it. They have the inside line on morality and
Hollywood.
For Hollywood.
Yeah. Hollywood.
With Nev Campbell, Joseph Dredd nails it for Wild Things. Yeah. Nev Campbell. I thought she was hot too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Less crazy than this chick. You know what I mean?
I'm a nuclear physicist. Whatever.
Really? Did you bring your knee pads? I'd like you to check out. I'd like you to check out my reactor. Your hands. Oh,
Salty went there. Fantastic.
Reactor shaft needs some.
Yeah, I need you to pump. I need you to pump the core.
Hello.
Sorry.
Oh, it's PG. It's PG, dude.
I'm just thinking about pumping the core and I'm getting really hot and flustered. Oh my goodness.
Well, if you need a minute, Blair and I can cover for you.
Yeah. We'll vape. We'll vamp. You just take care of business.
Hey, Cobra, how you doing? The name's Bond. Blames Bond. Blames Bond. I can't even say that. Jesus. I don't know what's going on, Blair, with all this blah, blah, blah with everything. It's going right over my head. Nosferatu.
That was our black names. We had that last week.
I blame him for everything.
Is that where that came from?
Yeah.
Because I had to call Nosferatu Blosfer Blatu or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, Blosfer Blatu.
I was
sounds like a movie.
Seriously, I'm like, what's going on? It was on Prophet of the Dragon's gaming stream, and he made everybody in chat. He said it was black speak, and I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, so thank you for explaining that because
I didn't know that was a thing anymore.
I thought that was just Nos being on Crystal or something.
Could be.
Crystal meth. Anyway.
So yeah, this one had 2 hot women in it.
Never change. No.
I'm the creator. This is my version of
Urban Pig Latin. Gotcha, Nos. No, never change. Make that change. Yes, you're right, Blair. At least 2, maybe more, because there's a beautiful woman in the beginning, the opening action scene, who gets taken out. No, she takes her own life, rather than be captured by or have to face Robert Carlyle's character, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has so much fear. She's like, I can protect you, not from him.
Great line. It's a great scene as well. In a hot air balloon, and she blows the gas and blows herself up.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that thing? Millennium Park or something. That big.
Oh God, the
thing.
Millennium Dome.
Yeah, that I heard a lot of people don't
Huge
like
waste
that thing.
of money. Let me share.
Add it to the list of things being spent. What do you guys think about that chase scene with the? Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about with the boat.
I love that boat.
Me
Except
too.
the whole front is wide open, so all the water was scooping in on him. She could have shot him in the face; it would have been over. You know.
Are we talking about Christmas Jones again?
No, the
he shoots, he scores.
That little boat had no front. It was like open canopy. So
yeah, you're right about that. From a nautical standpoint, you are correct, sir.
That is a cool little boat, though.
It is a cool boat.
That's her boat. Let's just get his. Here we go. I can't really see it very well, but
Dude,
yeah, open.
Who didn't want this boat? Okay, you know what I mean? I want this boat right now. I want to ride around just blasting the shit out of things that annoy me. You know what I mean? Like, no harm, no foul. Like, I'm not going to kill any homicides. Maybe some property damage. But this boat was killer, you know?
This is what I was saying, guys. This is what I've forgotten how good this opening scene is. It's absolutely brilliant. It's, as Blair was saying, Salty, it's all practical. It's great, you know, practical stunts, practical effects. There's no CGI anywhere as far as I know, and it's just brilliant.
And that's why it works. It's the scope and scale of what you can do with practical effects. And
you feel it. Like the CG stuff now, you don't care. It's like watching a video game. But when they did stuff like this, you could actually feel like the danger.
There's no threat, is there? There's no fear. Yeah.
You can't computerize what water does like this. You have to be on these locations. Like
and the face he makes whenever the G's hit him, you know, it's like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, whipped around in there.
God, I miss
so good.
The 90s. I do. I miss the 90s. I miss good movies.
We miss the 80s, now we miss the 90s and the 70s.
I miss the 80s, the 90s.
Yeah, we miss good shit.
Good stuff, yeah.
And this is, you know, even like people have problems with this and consider it bad. This is like light years ahead of the stuff we're getting now.
No, I mean, like, if I criticize this movie, it's only within the scope of Pierce Brosnan's other work and the other Bond movies of the time. I mean, if this was, I mean, I own all of these movies on Blu-ray. I have all of the James Bond stuff on Blu-ray, and they look magnificent. I don't think they look dated at all. Maybe it was because I was in my 20s, you know, like late 20s when some of these came out. It just all feels natural. And then you sit down and you watch a movie that came out 6 months or a year ago, and it feels dated. You know, it's just like, I can tell this movie was made in 2023, you know, because it sucks, you know. But just all these, I mean, look at there was a stuntman doing this.
Yeah, he hit that thing and you could feel it in your bones when he hit.
Yeah, from the plane. Sorry, not the plane, from the hot air balloon.
And he catches those wires, you know. They eventually, you know, stop him, and he yanks his arm. You know he's hurt, as you would be if you actually did that.
Pops his shoulder. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking over your chat, and we've got Nosferatu the Vampire says, I'm typing in the bath now with Boys to Men playing in the background.
Oh, Jesus. God.
Explains a lot. Actually.
Garbage.
So, guys, before we finish up, what do you think of the theme tune, The World Is Not Enough by Garbage, written by David Arnold?
Thing that Garbage would do this. This is like, they sold out totally. You know, they're doing a Bond theme.
Yeah. This is not the best Bond theme there ever was.
No.
I think that this, you know, like a lot of things, Bond would grab onto what would be popular within the culture at that time. That's why you had Shirley Bassey and Nancy Sinatra and, of course, Tom Jones and Wings. All those things work in retrospect. I think Garbage, when it came out, I mean, I had it on CD. I blasted the shit out of the one good song they had on that album.
Stupid Girl.
Yeah, Stupid Girl was really good, but I couldn't get into the other tracks. There was another band
I'm only
that came
happy
out
when
at
it
the time.
rains.
Oh yeah, well that's the two of them.
That's two tracks, yeah.
There was another band called Portishead that came out at the same time, which I think was a lot better than Garbage. Anyway, this didn't really work. Like, if they would have let Garbage be more of what they were instead of trying to maybe have it be orchestral the way that they did, maybe it'd be a better track. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think. Yeah, this is like one of the weaker themes. And, you know, the James Bond thing had like you said, it kind of had like a not lounge thing, but kind of that, feeling.
I'm not laughing at you. It's just this crazy chat. You're right. You're right. I mean, it almost was a great song, Blair. That's the thing. It was almost a great song, but it just seemed too tame.
Yes.
You know?
It was really, it was not their cup of tea. So a little bit miscast there.
In the documentary, guys, they actually interviewed them very briefly, and they said they got a lot of hate for it. They said, it didn't go down very well. They didn't mention selling out, but they were like, our band name Garbage and the song, you can guess what people were saying. But I thought it sounded good on the rewatch. I was surprised. I was expecting to be like, oh, this is not a good one, but yeah, it's not a classic, but it's decent.
Well, that's the thing. It's not Shirley Bassey, and it's not Wings, and it's not Duran Duran, but it works. And again, it's a moment of time in the 90s when this came out. Not all of the people they hired. I mean, like I said, Sheryl Crow, I think it's cringe that she did a Bond song.
I think she did Tomorrow Never Dies, didn't she? Was that her? I can't even remember the song.
I think that was it. And she was trying to go for sultry lounge singer, but it was just kind of like, no.
Not from her,
No, just go back to talking about I wanna walk in the sun with my titties out, like that was good. But
how about the Jack Black and who was it? Jack Black and Alicia Keys. They did one. It wasn't a good one. It was, oh my God, which one is it? What's after the first Daniel Craig one? The second Daniel, Quantum of Solace. Didn't like that one. That was
Let me
very
shout some people out. You got Dwayne Muth is in chat. Caviendo Cavalryman Shea is here as well, dropping bombs. Yeah, Remington Steel Bond was worth the wait. We talked about that earlier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that man was born to play James Bond.
Zax is hungry like the wolf. Don't tell AJ. I'm on the run. I'm hunting you.
God, Duran Sorry, it takes you back. It is a good track. They did a good track, A View to a Kill, but I don't know. It does sound very 80s when the synths kick in. The din 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 din. It's very but it sounds good.
Yeah, they were going for that aha vibe at the time. Which so many of these things. I mean, you look at what was going on when the movie came out. Look what was on the Billboard charts. Because Duran Duran had a completely different feel with, what is it, Girls on Film? I think that was the album that they did. Or was it Rio? But just they had their own sound, and it kind of corporatized Duran Duran, which sounds kind of funny.
Film.
Yeah, dude,
the longer
like the wolf,
the longer they stay around, the more corporate you get, and
Here's a documentary, by the way. Just going to share the screen to show it, and of course, it's got Billie Eilish, the latest song. She's in it quite a lot, but it does go back to the past.
She's not a Fruit Loop. Pushing all the she's not a Fruit Loop who's having all this money and fame at 14. I'm sure didn't go right to her head and is not being drugged up by everybody in the record industry right now and passed around.
She's absolutely bonkers, Salty.
Allegedly, Caviando Cavalryman Shea says Salty always wanted the Spice Girls to sing a Bond theme. You know what? I actually think that would have been a good idea.
Yes,
that could have been good, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion.
I hated the Spice Girls. I mean, I wanted to sleep with a couple of them. I mean, who didn't at that time, right? Like,
I liked them for some bizarre reason.
Like
I don't know why.
Ginger Spice, I would have slept.
Oh, you got too excited.
Oh shit! Sorry,
I had a really good.
I meant to do this.
I had a really good joke going. Okay, now I'm gonna finish my. So Ginger Spice, Cavalryman Shea. Since you and I are the only ones caring about this, I would have just Ginger Spice. All right, I know she's a total hose beast, right? But like, dude, I would have hit that. I don't know, scary. I didn't like the other spices. Okay,
I like Sporty.
Ginger was naughty. She was dangerous, Zoe.
Well, I mean, chat. We got to have some strong feelings in here about which of the Spice Girls' bangability was the highest. But yeah, I'm gonna be basic bitch and say Ginger. So.
Nosferatu with his dodgy comments. Be careful there. The power of pizza compels you. Oh dear.
It was 40 Spice for me.
Did you ask us a legitimate question, Gray, and then I totally derailed everything again?
No, I can't remember what I asked.
Okay.
I was just sharing the screen about that documentary because despite Billie Eilish being in it a lot and Hans Zimmer,
Jenna's going to be judging all her answers.
I saw that. As well you should.
Jerry had pictures in Penthouse, Salty. Ginger
Spice.
I
saw
Jerry.
something. Yeah, I bought that issue.
I bet you did.
Yep. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet. Get on my back. You know what I mean? I'm a book reader. I'm a book fan. You know what I mean? So.
Awesome. Okay, guys, I say I'm going to keep this short today because I've got plans this afternoon. But before we wrap things up, do you want to give a final thoughts, or do you want to shout anything out apart from Zach's?
He's not wrong. Not wrong. And the one that has the penis now, because they're probably going to do the new Spice Girls. Only none of them don't have a penis. That's probably where we're going to get. So.
Nut Spice. Nuts and well, she had what's his name's kids.
Beckham.
No, Posh. Scary.
Posh.
Pepper.
Yeah, like those two broads I always got mixed
Beverly
up.
Hills Cop. That's the black comic. I can't.
Victoria Beckham and
Eddie
Murphy. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. She had
his kid.
She has a hell of a retirement plan. Good
no
for her.
way.
You know what I mean? Like, you never has to work
them.
another day in her life. Just get knocked up and collect alimony, whatever the hell it is.
We should do a thing called the Spice Rack and see where it's
alimony, paying the bills.
Look at Joseph Dredd. He says he liked Baby Spice. Ooh, cute.
I know.
Dude, I would have. You know, I'm not saying forever, but I would. You know. So.
I always thought Victoria Beckham, Posh Spice, had a bit of a horsey face, but you wouldn't say no, Salty. Just turn her around, no problem at all. There we go.
Dude, I wanted nothing to do with Posh. I mean, not that I had a high opinion of David Beckham. I'm just
Old Spice.
But, you know,
right.
Yeah.
Oh god. Salty still uses Old Spice, by the way, Dwayne. So please don't make any jokes about Salty on the stream.
God,
I
dude,
could be being sarcastic.
My gag reflex from my dad wearing that shit. And when I say wear, it was literally like this in the 70s. That man, you know, you come home from school and you went in the bathroom and it smelled like It smelled like it made you throw up. Like I would go and piss in the back of the garage just to not go in the bathroom. It's
like a chemical attack, you know. Oh my god, I've just been like chemtrailed or something by the Old Spice.
My dad liked Brute and Karate.
That's the other one.
Karate and the green bottle?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Unbelievable, guys. How did we get here?
70s shit from hell.
Dude, and then all the Avon stuff the ladies wore, where it's just like, it smelled like flowers and embalming fluid. You know what I mean? Like dead bodies with it. You know, like, here, you can smell like lilies and dead grandmothers. And it's like, no, let's not do that, you know? So.
The Carlyle.
Fantastic. Absolutely.
I wore that when it came out. It worked. But,
I did Old Spice for a little while when I was like 15. And then
everybody did, because it was like that's what you did.
It was so cheap. Yeah. Did you guys have Lynx, the spray one? It had all these different flavors. Not flavors, these different scents, and it was so bad. It was so strong you could taste it after spraying yourself. Like Jesus.
Like body axe spray back then. No, I didn't remember that.
It sounds like it's like a poorly aimed nozzle on an Axe body spray when you've been drinking. You know what I mean? Suddenly your eyeball in the interior of your skull smells like cool ice or whatever the hell it is. You look like you got maced by some chick. You know what I mean? You got to file for disability because the Old Spice can't function.
Oh,
Funeral home fresh. Oh my god, that's terrifying. I know exactly what you mean as well. Oh Jesus.
Or you got those women that have like a barrier shield around them that, you know, they put so much on there like they can't even smell it anymore.
Oh god.
But you get like there's like a force shield around them. It's nothing but that.
Yeah, it's like mothballs and artificial lilies. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. Take your clothes
mothballs,
off.
the smell of Narnia. That's what I always imagined.
We're gonna bang right now, woman. Yeah.
Capitano Cavalryman says there's an artist named Ice Spice actually who has a song on the Barbie movie soundtrack with Nicki Minaj. There we go.
Another thing I will not see. So, yeah.
Lynx is a foreign version of Axe. Okay, thanks, mate. I didn't know. Did you have Axe? Was it called Axe in the States?
Yeah, Axe body spray. And that's what my kid uses.
I was in Marshall's and I was looking at getting some pillows and stuff like that. And I walked through the men's center and there's like, oh, look, there's an axe. And I'm like looking around. Anybody watching me? You know what I mean? And I smell it and it's like, no, you know what I mean? Like this, if it's the zombie apocalypse and I'm trying to hook up with a chick, I'll just rub dirt on myself. I don't want any of that axe stuff. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. A
little bit of gasoline on you goes a long way.
That'll work too. Lighter fluid. Yeah.
Raid bug spray. Oh, be careful. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, guys, this has been a blast. Don't worry about the movie. We don't have to wrap things up. Well, actually, yeah, Blair, you did watch it, even on high speed, but you watched it. What would you give it as a rating, say, out of 10?
I would give it a 6 or 7. A 6.5.
6.5. Ooh,
it's a good watch. You know, not the best thing ever, but, you know, still entertaining. You know, very entertaining all the way through.
I'm going to go 7.5, just to be weird.
Oh, that's a shocker. I mean, honestly, again, you have to put it in scope and scale. Like, if you were just going to say to somebody who had never seen a Bond movie before, go watch this, I think a 7.5 is accurate. The first number that came in my head was a 7. I do think, though, if you watch all of the Pierce Brosnan movies back to back, I think that's the way to judge this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good
And
point.
that's why I said some of the, and I'm not shitting on this movie. I'm just saying after GoldenEye and then, so what is it, tomorrow? Yeah, just some of the other stuff that came after this is garbage. So it's actually, this movie's a lot better than Die Another Day.
Die Another Day is terrible, Salty, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not just Rosamund Pike's fault.
How dare you?
She did have great tits in that. Anyway, no, I'd give it a 7. So yeah.
Okay, it's good. It's a strong 7. It's very fair. Yeah, 6.5, 7, and a 7.5. Awesome. Okay, before we finish, Salty, do you want to shout something out? Because I know you've been busy. You're back on YouTube and you're doing videos on some fantastic TV show, Wheel of Time, Lord of Prime.
No, I'm only doing videos on things that I really want to talk about, and and on my terms. And the stuff with Wheel of Time, it's been awesome to collaborate with Prophet of the Dragon and Artorial and Madam Manethrin and other people. And once you start getting that creative interaction, it drives you to think about things because you're hearing other people's perspectives. So I did a pretty good video the other day talking about why it's going to be the Rosamund Pike show. And then I did a video today just talking about the latest nonsense that's come out about the Rings of Power Season 2 and how Shelob, the casting and what that means. But otherwise, I'm just having fun and being on live streams and waiting for the eventual drop of Wheel of Time Season 2. So, but this has been a lot of fun, Gray. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, mate. You're always welcome. That's been brilliant. Yes.
That's why I just barge in.
Salty takes. Bond. Okay. How about you, Blair? Are you going to be on someone's stream?
Yeah, Jacob Ironside has rescheduled his Bridge over the River Kwai for the 11th of July. So I'll be in that. And then when Roman comes back and wants to do the Dark City, I'll be on that one, definitely.
Oh, awesome.
Would you guys ever be interested in watching John Wayne's The Longest Day?
Oh, I love that movie. Yes, I do. Yeah,
I love that movie. I would love to watch that, in somebody's Discord with a bunch of people, because it was for Memorial Day. I watched that, and then I watched They Were Expendable, and I love both of those movies so much.
I'm on a big World War II kick. I just saw Sahara last night with Bogart.
Oh, dude, I've been going back through I watched El Dorado for the first time since the '70s with John Wayne. Fantastic Western, just such a good, high stakes, people dying Western.
They say it's a bit of a cliche, but they don't make them like that anymore, do they?
No.
They don't make them like that, man.
No. And they don't shoot them in the same aspect ratio with the same filters and go directly to film. And, you don't have Howard Hawks. You don't have John Huston or Houston or however the hell you say it. Just men making movies about men, doing manly things. And the only ones that had penises were
men.
So what you like, you and the penis jokes. Sahara, says Dwayne in the chat. Sahara, is that another one? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Or is it a joke? Sahara? No, I don't know. Okay, what have I got coming up? Nothing really. I'm hopefully going to have a party, going to a party later tonight. So that's why I'm wrapping things up. Yeah. A beach party. A party on the beach. It's been cancelled for years because of certain things. We're not meant to have parties over here in Japan, but now we can. Yeah. But guys, it's horrible weather. It's been really, rainy season. It's very, very humid. Raining on the north, stormy. So we're hoping it's going to stop by tonight because Gray's going to be DJing. There you go.
Oh, no way.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Blair?
So we're in a drought. And we keep having
serious
Canadian wildfire smoke coming in town. That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You won't know any of these. These are all old stuff. I'm having a trip back down memory lane.
Radiohead.
Okay, that's a good call. What else is in there, Gray? Pretend that I can't
Underworld?
see it on the small screen.
Things that people won't expect, like you say, Radiohead, at a beach party, but I'm on early. I'm going to play early, so I'm just going to... Bit of reggae.
Away with Radiohead. Okay,
Basement
good.
Jacks.
It better be roots.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
You gotta have... Yeah.
This is great, Salty. 200% Dynamite. It's a compilation of really proper old 60s Jamaican music.
Dude, I love that Roots stuff. I have a lot of that stuff. It's
Roots are awesome, yeah.
Dude, the Roots reggae, like all that stuff. Yeah.
Can't go
Black
wrong with that.
Uhuru and Scatolites.
Strokes' second album for Reptilia. Love that. Great song.
Yeah, Zach says bring NWA.
Primal Scream, Zax, no NWA, the Doves and the Charlatans. It's like a trip down Manchester or UK indie, Blair.
I hope there's some Sarah McLachlan in there for your beach party because that's all.
Okay, I'll add that for you.
Play some Skinny Puppy. They'll love it.
That'll work. Dead Milkman.
Dedicated to Salty because, yes, he requested it. Bit of Sarah McLachlan. There we go.
Enchanté. Well, nice.
All right, we've got to get you a clip where her boobs are out. Okay.
There you go.
We'll do that for next one. Okay, guys, I'll drop the closer. So thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. It's been awesome. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your support. Thank you for your awesome deep dive, Salty and Blair. It's been really good. I want to talk more Bond, and now I want to watch more Bond. That's what that documentary made me want to do. Hearing the songs, I'm like, I want to see all the movies now, Salty. And I'm so jealous. You've got Blu-rays of them all.
That's eBay. But I was going to say, now I want to talk about every damn James Bond movie with you.
Right?
This is fun. It's fun to talk about things you love.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Trip, don't worry about it. I missed the whole Battle of the Sexes going on in the chat. I wouldn't mind a sexy battle, though. I'm hoping there'll be a sexy battle or two tonight at the beach party. We'll see how it goes. Okay, on that note, where are we? Boom! Let's go!
How dare you? How dare you?
I keep waiting to get a massage.